inspire, greatness at track number 9. Stay on the right track and let your light shine. Step by step, reach for what's true. Track number 9, your greatness is waiting for you.
Good morning, and welcome to track number 9. I'm your host, Monica Cooper. So glad that you could join me. And Snowmageddon hasn't come yet. So I hope that everybody has everything that they need. I hope you have salt and food, and we're prepared for what may be a pretty bad storm. But on today's show, besides Snowmageddon, because that's definitely coming, we can't stop God's work. But the other thing that we can't stop is the legislative session that happens every year. And some people might want to stop it. Some people may say, hey, let's keep it going. But every year for 90 days, we have representatives from around the state of Maryland that go to Annapolis and they bring bills, some of them hundreds of bills, thousands of bills, and policies that they feel uh, should best represent the folks in their district. And today we're going to be talking about some of that legislation. We have, we have a delegate, Sean Stinnett, who's here in the studio with us. He's on. We have Sister Cheryl Ward from Los Angeles. And we have Delegate Jackie Addison. We have Roxanne Prettyman. Good morning. All of these folks are here. You're with us, so I'm really happy about it. But when we think about policies, when we think about legislation, sometimes people don't go to the polls and vote because they don't understand how this stuff impacts them. And I just want to kind of remind people and to tell, hey, Sister Terry is here. Hi, Terry. Good to see you. But I want to remind people about legislation and policy and how we've got to this point, because everything, as far as I'm concerned, starts with legislation and policy. I'm going to run it down to you real quick. How much you pay for your prescriptions, how much you pay for rent, and currently in Baltimore, Maryland, and all over the country, how much you pay for your gas and your electric, how much your cell phone bills are, all of this stuff, and whether or not you'll be able to get daycare vouchers for your children, your struggling mother, elder care. When you have your mother and your father in those facilities, they have governing bodies and policies and rules and regulations as to how those things are supposed to run. So I encourage people, if you don't vote, I suggest you go out and exercise your right to vote. If you have children, cousins, aunties, your mama, your daddy, if they do not vote, I really highly suggest that you go out and vote, because everything starts at the ballot box. I think it was Brother Malcolm X who said the ballot or the bullet. I never knew what that meant, but I think it's a kind of cool statement. The ballot or the bullet. I'm going to go back and research that and try to figure out exactly what our brother was talking about, because there are some people, oh man, Crystal Parker's here. She's actually running for office in the 40th district. I hope we can eventually bring her on live. We have Ms. Gwen Levi that's with us. She's very aware of the things that go on in Annapolis. We have Patrice Bimbo. The sister is very active, very involved. Her and Sister Terry are members of the National Association of Colored Women. And man, that's a huge and big organization when it comes to voting rights for African American people and working in those spaces. But yeah, everything it leads to what we see. We could start on a federal level. We see all of the policies that our current president is putting out there. Many people say that these policies are intended to set African American people back hundreds of years. And just imagine if some folks had voted a different way, how would the country look at this current moment? So your vote is very important when it comes to legislation for incarcerated women. Your vote is very important. I'm going to give you a snapshot of how important legislation is. At one time, pregnant women were being shackled when they went to give birth. That meant that their hands were tied, they to the bed, and their feet were chained to the gurneys. So these folks were chained to the bed. These women were chained to the bed and shackled while they were trying to give birth to children. Not only that, but when they were transporting them, can you imagine being in labor, being in pain, and your belly's out to here, and you have a chain that weighed pounds, a chain around your belly, and you were trying to get into a transport van, you can only move your feet but this far. Imagine what that would feel like, how painful that must have been. Well, there were advocates in California, where Sister Cheryl Ward is from, in Maryland, I think in Massachusetts, where Sister Andrea James lives in up in Massachusetts. She's actually a formerly incarcerated woman, and she's running for governor. Andrea James, formerly incarcerated woman, that's running for governor of Massachusetts. That's huge. That's huge. Politics and votes, legislation, policy, it matters. But yeah, we had worked on that bill. My organization, Maryland Justice Project, here in Maryland, we worked on that bill with NARAL, which is a NARAL Pro-Choice Maryland, and a whole bunch of other organizations, and it was called the Anti-Shackling Bill. So that, yeah, they have a sister that I think Pam is from Georgia. She actually, unfortunately, gave birth to a child on the jail room floor. The jailers wouldn't take her out. She was telling them, I'm in pain, I need help. And this lady actually gave birth to her child on the floor of a prison. So again, policy and legislation matters. And we're here today to, talk about policies. And, one of my favorite, of course, is women. Our organization, we actually have a transitional house. We house women that are incarcerated. And when they come home to this beautiful, safe house. We follow the model of Miss Susan Burton out in California. And if anybody want to know about the plight of a formerly incarcerated woman and the work and the struggle to actually make sure that women are housed, check out Miss Susan Burton out in California. Google her name. She started the Safe Housing Network. It's huge. It's in Uganda. It's in Africa, all different places in Africa. We are actually a part of the Safe Housing Network. So definitely check that out. Brother Brock is here. My man always got something good to say, and he's a smart guy. So I know he's going to add to this conversation. But, without further ado, we're talking about legislation. Hey, good morning. That's right. Pamela Wynn. Thank you, dear sister. That's the sister's name, Pamela Wynn. Cheryl Ward just gave me that reminder. Pamela Wynn is her name. You can Google her as well, because she's done a lot of work to make sure that women are not shackled when they give birth. And she's done a lot of work for women that are incarcerated. But yeah, definitely check out Pamela Wynn as well. But today we are in the beginning of the 449th legislative session here in Maryland. A few weeks back, we had Senator Cory McCray on, and I believe we have Delegate Jackie Addison. And I really want us to hear from Delegate Jackie Addison, and I want you to hear about some of the bills. Brother Robert Winslow is one of my favorite guys, man. But I want you guys to hear from Delegate Jackie Addison. She's working on some outstanding bills, and she even had a bill passed that people may not even be familiar with. And I want her to actually share with us, because all of us have had issues with these outer town plates. People go to Virginia and they're able to get registrations, because the law in Virginia does not require you to have insurance. So they have all kinds of tickets and all kinds of stuff here in Maryland. So what they've been doing is they jumped to Virginia. And it's the Virginia tags that have been causing havoc in the streets of Baltimore. and then the streets and towns here in Maryland. Anyway, I want us to hear from Delegate Jackie Addison. If we could bring Delegate Jackie Addison in the studio, then that would be great. And anybody that's listening today, if you want to come into the studio, you can have your 2 minutes. We ain't giving 5 minutes of fame. We're giving 2 minutes here because an hour goes by really quick. So yeah, and if you would like to be a guest on today's show, you can send an email to Leon at theleonthomasgroup.com. We will respond right away if you want to be a guest on this show. In the meantime, let's hear from Delegate Jackie Addison. Man, I can't wait until you hear about these two bills. I think they're actually really good bills, but I want you guys to hear from her. And remember, this is a nonpartisan space. We don't care about your party affiliation, as long as you are bringing solutions to keep us on the right track and to help us move forward. You are welcome in this space. Can we bring Delegate Addison in the studio?
Leon Thomas here. Ms. Addison's not here.
Oh, okay.
She's not with us. So once she is, I'll give you a notification. Show's going well. I'm going to go back into production. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, I will let you know a little bit about what Delegate Addison is proposing. The first bill that she is proposing, I think it's a good idea, is that people can no longer go to the commissioner's office and put out a warrant for someone's arrest without having some type of proof. I personally know individuals who were in relationships, had lovers' quarrels, and that person would go and deliberately tell a lie to say, oh, my boyfriend or my girlfriend, they tried to stab me, they punched me in the face, they did this. Meanwhile, they have no bruises, no proof that this person did that. So currently, all you have to do is go into the space. Oh, wow, Crystal Parker, hey. All you have to do is go into the commissioner's office and tell a lie, and they will issue a warrant for that person's arrest. Brother Vincent Gregory is here. Good morning, dear brother. Yeah, they will issue a warrant for that person's arrest, and that's unfair because once that warrant is on you, once them people come and grab you, you have to prove your innocence from behind the wall. And Delegate Addison is proposing a bill that would have a accuser of more than just coming and tell us, okay, yeah, she punched me in the eye. You got to have some sort of proof or something indicating that these things happen. Now, I understand that there are some people on the opposite side that represents domestic violence people and everything. And I think they have some opposing views about it. But I hope that they can come to some sort of solution when it comes to that bill because, yeah, I think it's a really good bill. And the second bill was that she has a bill out that would address those Virginia tags. I'm going to kind of give you some statistics that I actually got these numbers from Senator Cory McCray. And it is the name of the bill is Out-of-State Tags, Senate Bill 111. So if you want to Google that and look it up and see exactly what it says, Senate Bill 111. Oh, Delegate Addison says she's on, but she can't get in. Do you see Delegate Addison, producer? And I'll just continue to read this while we try to get the delegate to come in the studio live. But the out-of-state tags, Senate Bill 111, and Mayor Scott is also in support of this legislation. So what it says is that 14 fatal crashes involve Virginia tags. And that's it. When people have Virginia tags, they drive insane because they know that their stuff is from Virginia. I guess they feel like they won't face any consequences. The numbers I have here is 52,000 get into non-jail. I think it's 52,000 people have all types of offenses when driving, but they're considered non-jailable offenses. So the out-of-state registration is something that's on the mayor's radar. and some other folks. And I think there's another bill involved driving, and that is HB 0219. I want to go ahead and before I forget, Senator Charles Signoy, traffic stops of the black drivers. You know, they have this whole idea about, you know, driving while black, and they look at the statistics and everything. So I don't know exactly what that is, but that seems like it's an interesting bill, HB 0219. Yeah, that bill right there. So definitely we will be looking forward to seeing that. The other one I want to share with you guys and put it on your radar is a bill that is sponsored by Senator Shanika Henson, and the co-sponsor, I believe, is Delegate Stephanie Smith. And this is called the PATH Act. And the bill involves domestic people who have the women who have been the victims of domestic violence, and their ability to be able to bring that proof into court so that when a judge looks at their sentencing, they would consider the effects of domestic violence. There was a movie out years ago called The Burning Bed, and I think it was a lady. What was the blonde-haired lady name that played in that movie years ago? Called The Burning Bed. I think her name was Farrah Fawcett. Well, she played in this movie, and it was about her being abused and her response to her abuser once she had got fed up. And I've known some women who have. Good morning, Sister Donna. I know some women who had been abused for so many years, and one lady, her husband was abusing her and fighting on her, and she went and got a really small kitchen knife, a steak knife, to try to defend herself. And that knife ended up piercing one little poke to this side, pierced his heart, and the man died. And she was crushed. But sometimes things happen in the heat of the moment when you're trying to defend yourself, and sometimes unfortunate things happen. I believe Delegate Stinnett was here as well. I think we can try to bring Delegate Stinnett in, because I want you guys to hear from lawmakers, and maybe you can pose some of your questions in. Tia Richardson is here. Tia Richards, but maybe you guys can pose some questions to the delegate, and and see what happens. Okay, so can we bring Delegate Sean Stinnett in here? Is he still here?
Ms. Cooper, I emailed Delegate Stinnett the link
Okay.
for the studio, and I still haven't received a response from her, and she's not in the studio yet.
Okay, yeah, that's a Delegate Sean Stinnett. That's interesting. Delegate Sean Stinnett is the okay. He says he's here. He says I'm here, and I sent an email.
I don't see him in the studio, and I sent a return email with the studio link.
Okay, well maybe he can.
I'll respond to his email
yes,
with a phone number, so you can give me a call. All right, we'll work it out though. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Well, guys, if you have any questions, you can actually just put them in the chat, and we can discuss some of those things that you're curious about that I had just mentioned. And we're gonna keep it moving, because hey, Haywood Miles, good morning. But we're gonna keep it moving, and I want you guys to know about yet another bill. But you gotta really pay attention to this stuff. Because have you ever been walking in your community or driving by and you see a building and you say, "Dang, when they put that building up there?" I drive by here all the time. That's because we are not necessarily paying attention. And before that building went up, there were already plans 5 years ago. So people are making plans for your life, for your community, for your children, 5 and 10 years before you even see it. Because when a bill goes into effect, it takes at least almost the following year for them to implement it. And then sometimes they have an implementation stage. So this stuff has already happened. So by the time you get wind of it, it's already a done deal. Yeah, Brother Hayward says you need to know information. That's so true. And I often wonder, how do we get people the information? Oh wow, State versus Us magazine. Tia is in the house. She owns a bookstore, Urban Reads Bookstore on Greenmount Avenue, doing phenomenal work. She's getting ready to put a literacy bus together, which brings me back to what Brother Haywood just mentioned. We need to know information. But when it comes to our children, how do we get them to be able to graduate from school and be able to read? You know how many of our babies are walking around here right now selling drugs because they're so embarrassed that they can't read an application. They are embarrassed that they graduated from school, and people wonder, Dad, why is this boy out here? He went to school every day. Oh, Sister Cheryl wanted me to explain about the insurance, about skipping insurance. Sister Cheryl is from California, but I want to explain real briefly that here in Baltimore, here in Maryland, people are able to go to Virginia and get Virginia registration and Virginia tags. So here in Baltimore, they are riding around with Virginia tags, and they might have an insurance lapse that cost them $3,000 here. They may have tickets that is $360. They may have red light fines that might be $800. So two things happen in that case. One, we don't get the tax dollars. We don't get that revenue. So whatever that revenue is that we pay to motor vehicles, that's supposed to go into a pot. But we don't get that money because they're not paying, they dodging. And then when you have Virginia tags, they can drive reckless and do whatever they want because they can't even necessarily trace the tags to say who they belong to. The plate readers. You have license plate readers here. So if somebody read my tag, excuse my French, I said SHIT. I meant to say shoot. But they will know where Monica Cooper lives, probably what she had for breakfast. So there's something that's going on here. I think Senator McCray had reported that there were 14 fatal incidents with people who have Virginia tags. Kind of reminds me of when people want to commit a crime. They will steal your car with the intention of committing the crime because it can't be traced back to them. So all of that stuff is correlated to stolen vehicles. Hey, brother Ronnie here, that's my man. Ronnie is a workout guru. If you ever want to slim down, book Ronnie. He'll get you slim. I'm telling you, he's a good dude and he know his stuff. But yeah, Sister Cheryl, that is one of the reasons why I believe Delegate Addison is trying to push this bill. And I hope it's actually successful. Yeah, reading can change your life. Sister DeWanda Farmer, she's actually coming to us live. She with us now in Belize. She is in Belize. That's a sister that I adore. She cut her teeth in working in housing, and she know all about the zoning and everything you need. She's another person. If you need some help, look her up. She definitely got you. But getting back to what I was saying, reading. The kids cannot read. So that leads them to doing all sorts of things. So in my mind, how do we get young people involved? Because you can vote at 18. I had with the Maryland Justice Project and previous councilwoman, Mary Pat Clark, me and a former, hi Beth, how you doing? The discussion about VA tags explains a lot about why Virginians seem to be such bad drivers. That is funny. Good morning, Beth. Oh wow, we have Delegate Sean Stinnett. I really want us to hear from him. He's actually going to be our special guest next week. So you get to hear about all the wonderful things he's doing in the 41st district. But he wanted to come on and share something with us, and then we'll get back to the conversation. And I don't know if anybody is in the viewing and listening audience. I think we have the capabilities to bring you into the studio. So just let us know And yeah, you can email Leon at the Leon Thomas Group, and he will respond and give you the link, and you can come in live. Good morning, delegates to net. How are you?
Good morning, Monica. I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing fine, sir. I know
Good,
that you
good.
wanted to tell us about some work that you had done, and next week we'll hold off on your legislative
Yeah,
stuff next
right. Now I
week.
appreciate that, and hopefully you're
Yes, sir.
staying warm because this storm, and they talking about this storm is going to be treacherous. So, hopefully you and your listeners are staying warm. But no, thanks a lot for having me come on. And I know, like I mentioned, like you mentioned, that we're going to have a great conversation next week, and then talk about as far as what pieces of legislation that I put through that I'm championing as far as for next week. However, I'm very excited because I wanted to talk about the new speaker, Jocelyn Penny Melnick, had gave me the approval to, and this is one of my first initiatives that I wanted to do last session, which was my first session. But I fortunately I'm able to start by her approval. I'm able to start our own first Maryland Muslim Council, Maryland Muslim Caucus in the legislature. So I'm very excited for that. We're still working out the preliminaries and the narrative and the overall mission. However, I'm set the date up for February the 16th to give the formal announcement on the floor about my colleagues being able to join the Maryland Muslim Caucus. And the 16th is significant because one, it's going to be Muslim Lobby Day that day, as well as it's going to be at least a day or 2 days prior to the celebratory month of Ramadan for the Muslim community.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing for anybody that's listening that participate that are Muslim and you practice Ramadan and
Right.
you study
And
Islam.
right. And
Definitely, please.
Even non-Muslims participate as far as in Ramadan as well.
Okay, okay. And when is Ramadan?
Ramadan is scheduled to be around February the 17th. Of course, it's based on the moon sighting that prior evening, but tentatively it's around February the 17th. And of course, as you mentioned, it lasts about 31 days.
Okay, okay. And that's like when you sight the moon. There's a
Yes,
sighting in the
yes.
moon in the Middle East, and then
Right. Exactly. And then that next day will be the first full day of fasting during the daylight hours. And then breaking the fast in the evening, which we call breaking the fast, the iftar, have an iftar dinner as far as
mhm.
amongst, the community and so forth.
Iftar is when Ramadan is over and you get together to celebrate.
Yes. Well, iftar is when you break the fast for that day and you have a dinner.
Oh,
And
okay,
that's the
okay.
iftar dinner. What you're thinking of, you have the Eid al-Fitr, that you have the Eid celebration after Ramadan has been at the end of Ramadan.
Okay, that's a beautiful
Right.
thing.
But
Yeah.
that's what this caucus is all about, to sort of, to highlight and to talk about as far as and what Islam, the religion, what it's all about. And it's a very peaceful and loving religion. And really we want to really talk about the misconceptions, and also even talk about as far as what bills that we all can champion as far as towards each other and so forth. So, that's those things that we're going to talk about and address, and what we can support as far as amongst, my colleagues, as far as within the legislature and so forth. And really, I'm gonna use it as sort of a educational opportunity so folks can, learn and understand and what the religion of Islam is all about.
Okay, okay. Patrice Bimbo says great work, delegates to that.
Yeah,
She's giving you the shout out. Also, Sister
appreciate it.
Rwanda, a farmer that's she's in Belize, as I mentioned, but she, is from Baltimore. She's got a beautiful home here and whatnot. But she had a question. She asked, "Have you heard of Islamic lending?" She said that that's something that's been popped up, the CDFI world. Now she uses that
Right.
lingo. I have no idea what CDFI is. Maybe that's a bank or some type of lending something. I don't know. But she had asked, "Have you heard about it, or have you considered Islamic lending?"
Yeah, I've definitely heard about it. I think I know, especially when, when we all talk more about as far as even getting into, if you're looking for a house, first time home buyer lending and stuff like that,
Mm,
there's Islamic lending that they have different ways as far as that, because of course, it's what we call haram as far as to get into debt. But as far as Islam lending, as far as shows what other ways, as far as to really finance certain things, as far as the sort of the Islamic way. So yeah, so
mm.
there are more organizations that are popping up more and more as far as in terms of engaging the Muslim community in terms of Islamic lending.
Okay, okay. Oh, sister says it means community development financial
Mhm.
institutions. And that's a show that I definitely want to have eventually when it comes to finances and when it comes to ways that we can have our communities be on the right track in terms of what they call legacies and in terms of
Right.
wealth building. I always hear that stuff about wealth building and whatnot, but it's always somebody that says if you give us $5.99, we will show you how to develop. This stuff should be free, and it should be
Right.
people who are actually willing to lend their expertise. They have this thing called a time bank that some people utilize, and a time bank is something that we're thinking about here at track number 9. We'll call it track number 9 time bank. And a time bank is when the community will lend its expertise without money. It's not a financial
Mhm.
thing. Your time is your wealth. So let's say if I was have been a painter for 30 years and somebody needed their home painted. I say, well, I can give 8 hours to the time bank to actually do this thing. And then in return, I get to cash in on my 8 hours. Somebody might be a landscaper. I say, all right,
Mhm.
well, for 8 hours, I can do this now. I got 8 hours that I can cash in. So the landscaper will say, well, I can come and do that backyard for you. Cut the tree down, do this, do that for 8 hours. And now the landscaper got himself 8 hours. So the
Right.
time is a way that communities can get things done without money. Because years and years and years ago, people didn't have no money. There was no currency. There wasn't this capitalistic thing where we got our children thinking. You succeed when you got a pair of Gucci's and you got the boat and you got this, or when you can come on Facebook or TikTok and show everybody all of these things. You can't. I was getting ready to use another choice word. I get fired up sometimes. I was going to say, I'll say you can't take that stuff with you. That's what your
Right.
parents used to say. So you can have all of it in the world, but what you better do is put some bank and some time in with your Lord and Savior, because that's the one that's going to cash you out. You know what I
Yes.
mean? I ain't gonna go all the way
Yes.
there.
Right.
I just had
Yeah.
a beer yesterday, but it's
Yeah.
all good. I am so happy that Delegate Jackie Addison is also
Mhm.
here. And thank you, Delegate Sean Stinnett, for your time. We look
Yeah.
forward to seeing you next week.
Definitely
Thank
look
you for
forward
the work
to it.
that you're
Yeah.
doing in the 41st District and any of
Appreciate
the
it.
constituents that's on now. I know they appreciate you. We look
Yeah, I
forward to
appreciate you as well. Yep. Look
yes, sir.
forward
We
to
look
you next
forward to
week,
it.
and I'm very happy to see my seatmate, my ace in the bucket. I appreciate
Yeah,
it. I love this
yes,
woman
sir.
right here. You have a phenomenal next guest up, Delegate Jackie Addison. Truly appreciate it because she schools me every day. She was yelling at me yesterday, schooling me all the time. But no, I appreciate it. All right,
Yes,
take
sir.
care. All right, thank
All
you.
right, Delegate. Thank you.
Bye.
Oh yeah. Okay. Here we go, man. I was just talking about these bills, and Sister Crystal say she teach GED. She use all the tactics to get students to read. Thank you, Sister Crystal. Y'all got to look her up in the 4-year district. She's running for delegate. She's a good one. But in the meantime, we got Delegate Jackie Addison here. Oh man, how you doing this morning?
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much, Monica. I heard you explaining my bills, and I really appreciate it.
I was trying
Um,
my best.
you did a good job. You did a good job. You did me well. But yes, I wanted to come on just to share some information about the out of state tag bill. It
Thank
actually
you.
started, yes, and I often say to folks that not only do I work for the 45th district, I work for all of Maryland, and when I wanted to introduce this bill. It started out being legislation for the 45th district because we were seeing so many out-of-state tags, particularly Virginia tags. Have nothing against folks who are that have the tags, but what we want you to do is actually make sure that you're in compliance with
Mm.
the state of Maryland laws. And so we know that folks go to Virginia, and not just in Virginia, they do have pop-up shops here where you can go and you can get a tag and you can place it on your vehicle. That has been law for quite some time before I came up with the Virginia tag bill and the out-of-state tag bill. We found a loophole. I was former member of the E&T committee. Now I'm on Ways and Means. So we found a loophole in E&T, and which says that we wanted to do it not just for Virginia, but for all of Maryland.
Mm.
Last year, we lost over $12 million in out-of-state registration. So you know what that does to the state of Maryland. It increases our MVA fees. It emissions, they don't have to go through the emissions testing. And so we just wanted to make sure that we kept that money here in the state of Maryland. So I know a lot of people are opposed to the bill, but I honestly think that it is a great bill. Like you said, we had 14 fatalities here in Baltimore with those Virginia state tags. We're just losing money. And so when we lose money, that means that we have to figure out a way to get that money back. And so that's the gist of the Virginia tag bill.
Mm.
Oh,
Okay.
and I would like to add this because a lot of people don't know. I have been working with MVA. I have been working with the Maryland Insurance Fund, have met with them to see how we can make sure that those rates aren't, people aren't just the rates being climbed, trying to make sure that they have payment plans, trying to make sure, because we know that the state of Maryland has one of the highest insurance rates. Need to make sure that our insurance rates, we can figure that piece out as well. So please don't be upset with me. I go to a lot of community association meetings, and that is one of the things that folks were talking about were those Virginia tags.
I appreciate that, and I especially appreciate you trying to work on Maryland's insurance rates, because what I have found is that in low-income communities, particularly African-American communities, the insurance is off the chain. Because in Maryland, I could live in Parkville and pay $130 for that same vehicle that I'm paying $450 in Baltimore. So it seems that the insurance companies make everything in African American communities and poor communities in general really, really high. There's a book out by a lady that used to be in leadership at Johns Hopkins called Taxing the Poor.
Mm-hmm.
That's the name of the book, Taxing the Poor, because it seems like the people who are in the low income areas pay high rates for everything, the food, the gas, the rent, everything you can imagine. It's higher for people in low income areas, which is sickening to me, because you already know that these people don't have the money, but they continue to try to bleed those communities. So I really appreciate you working with the insurance companies and try to regulate them so that they don't be trying to rip people off and try to tax the poor, if you will. Yeah, I'm poor. I'm poor. I don't understand them high rates and everything. I wanted to let you know that Patrice Benvo gives you the shout out, and Kimberly Armstrong says, "Hey, that's my delegate." You have people that's championing for you and that support you, and that's a beautiful thing, because that's what we need. We need to support each
Yeah,
other.
and I appreciate them. I really do. They know that I really work hard for my constituents, and I love them as well.
Hey, okay. Well, the other thing that I want, oh man, Tasha Bennett is here. I got that right. She recently had gotten married. I kept calling her Tasha Woodbury. She is actually Tasha Bennett and has a phenomenal husband. Both of them are beautiful human beings. But what you and I had spoke previously about a bill that you had worked on that not many people know, and it passed, and people need to know that, especially in light of what the MTA bus drivers have gone through here in Baltimore. And for those my friends that's listening from California, from Belize and Montgomery County and different places in the state, I want you guys to know that here in Baltimore, we've had MTA drivers just driving a bus, minding their business, trying to do their job, that's been shot and murdered. We've had our MTA bus drivers and people that work for mass transit be assaulted, put in a hospital. So Delegate Addison had introduced a bill that passed, and I really would love to hear from Delegate Addison so she can share with you the work that she put in to help protect the MTA drivers so that they can come and put in 8 hours of work and return back to their families. Delegate Addison, you still here? We may have had some technical difficulties. Oh, Kimberly Armstrong says she was an MTA bus driver for 10 years. Oh man, I can't even imagine what that was like. I know that probably was super difficult. My goodness. Driving a bus here in Baltimore and in Maryland is it's a tough job. Oh yeah, let me remind everybody on your screen, if you want to appear in the show live, definitely send out an email to Leon at the Leon Thomas Group, and he will respond, give you a link, and you can jump in the studio. I sure hope Miss Crystal Parker can jump in here. I would love to hear from Miss Crystal Parker. She is a candidate in the 40th district running for delegate. And I would just like to hear from her. I know Crystal Parker does a lot of work, and a lot of these things that I'm mentioning, she's done work around some of these issues. So if Crystal Parker could jump in the studio, that would be good. Or any of you guys, for that matter. Again, this is a nonpartisan show. We don't care your party affiliation. We don't care if you want to vote for Barney or Blue's Clues. I think those cartoons are so cute. Oh, Delegate Addison says she was kicked off. Can we get her that link again? Maybe if you click on the link again, you can come back in. But again, this is a nonpartisan show, and we come together every Saturday to share our thoughts, to share our comments, in hopes that we would be a solution. Oh wow, Lakeisha Porter is here. I'm so happy to hear from Ms. Keisha Porter. She says that her godson was attacked. He works for MTA, man. And that's what I'm talking about, sister, that you should be able to go to work for 8 hours and don't have to worry about whether or not you're going to make it home, especially when you're providing such a necessary public service. It's people that have to get to work on the bus. It's people that have to take their children to daycare on the bus before they go to work. It's elderly people that get on the bus to go to church on Sundays. It's people who need the bus. Some of our formerly incarcerated men and women, when they first come home, that's all they have is public transportation. And they don't, people want to feel safe. And I think it's just really cruel that a person would drive the MTA and man, yeah, well, that's kind of tough. It's a tough subject, and hopefully we can get the delegate back in the studio so that she can share with Sister Lakeisha Porter about the bill that she passed that would protect people like her godson, so that when they go to work, you won't be able to get away with assaulting them and killing them and everything, Let me see. We got Keon Chavez says, what about the protection of teachers and all human service workers? I love that idea. I think that there should be protections. But again, Chavez, that stuff starts with legislation. When you talk about, unfortunately, things like school shootings, some legislators have said, well, we just need people with guns in the schools. And there's a saying that goes, the only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. And unfortunately, that's not so, because in Vivalde, Texas, they had a whole bunch of so-called good guys with guns. And guess what? Many of them are being prosecuted. And you know why they're being prosecuted? Because they were cowards. When that building was on fire, They did not run into that burning building. They stood outside that building, hearing those gunshots and listening to those little babies die. There's a case right now against many of them for neglecting their duty. They claim that they are the superheroes, but not one of them went into that building to try and save those children. So those good guys with guns on that day in Vivaldi, Texas, were cowards with a good gun. So I don't necessarily know that our schools would be protected with armed guards at the door when your 6-year old is walking past a man with a gun and he looking like he's ready for battle. What would that do to our children mentally? But again, it's legislation. It starts at the ballot box. We can say what we want in our schools. We can tell them what our curriculum should be. We can say we don't want Toni Morrison's books taken out. We don't want these things removed from school. So it starts with voting. It starts, elections. They have consequences. And as we can see, yeah. Hi, Delegate Addison, you're back.
I don't know what's going on.
Well, praise the Lord. Lord, praise the Lord, amen. Well, anywho, before we lose you again, I want you to tell these folks, because Lakeisha Porter had made a comment that her godson was attacked.
Yep.
And he's an MTA bus driver. And I was just explaining to the folks, you should be able to go to work for 8 hours and don't have to worry about whether or not you're going to return to your family. So tell the Lakeisha Porter and all those that's interested in what type of protections do we now have, thanks to you.
Yeah. So thank you again for allowing me to come back onto the show. I was getting phone calls. I don't know how to do the do not disturb, so it was knocking me out. But yes, so last year I introduced House Bill 1144, which was a transit bill. And so when you look at all around the country, you see transit workers being assaulted. This bill passed in the House and in the Senate. And so I was able to introduce that bill on behalf of SMART with David Pendleton, who asked me to carry the bill, and Shanika Henson carried it over in the Senate. And so we were able to get that bill over the finish line. And what this bill does is, if you assault any transit workers, being a MTA driver, MARC train, Amtrak, if you assault them, you will be banned from those the transit, and so you will be banned. You will have a $500 fine, and you can be going to prison if you assault any of those workers. We know that there have been many transit workers who have been assaulted on their buses or on the train or Amtrak. And so that was a bill that I was most proud of putting in as well, was that bill, House Bill 1144, which if you assault any transit worker, you will be being arrested.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Under no circumstances should anybody ever put their hand on somebody that's providing a public service. I mean, really. And sometimes you have people that might, be mentally unstable and everything. That might be a different kind of situation. And I actually think that those penalties should be steep. I think they should be steep when it comes to that. So I definitely appreciate that. And I know our sister Lakeisha Porter, I know she appreciates that. Lakeisha is a wonderful person, and I know her godson is probably just as awesome as she is. So I definitely appreciate that. And I think we had one more bill that we wanted to talk about, which I think is really, really, oh, wow. Denise Gilmore is here. She is the representative for ASME. She works with the union, and I believe she represents correctional officers and different people that work in our public spaces. She mentioned that Agent Davis Martinez was murdered last year. Legislation passed last year to require a workplace violence standard to cover all public employees, including DSS workers and teachers. So we tip our hat to our sister for representing teachers and representing people in those Department of Social Services, because some of that stuff can be outrageous. and the way that
Yes.
those people come into schools and attack teachers. So thank you, Denise Gilmore. I'm so glad you chimed in, man. She's a wonderful person herself, doing doing good work. But I had mentioned before you were able to jump on, I had mentioned about that one. I can't believe we almost been here an hour. I love you guys. Y'all getting up before Snowmageddon. Y'all coming in here. Y'all already got all your salt. You got piles of food. You done took all the toilet paper. You took all the milk, all the bread. I can't find none. I might be knocking on one of y'all doors for real. Preparing for Snowmageddon here in Maryland. But that one, before we run out of time, I really want people to hear about this one. And the reason why is because I have family members who had baby mama drama, and the baby's mother always would say that my cousin did something to her, which was a total fabrication. They would arrest him, and then he would have to get bail or get on his own recon based on a lie. So I really appreciate this bill concerning the commissioner and how people really need to show a little more proof so that innocent people don't get arrested. So share with us about that.
So this upcoming year, it is House Bill 336, and it
Hmm.
is Commissioner of Charges False Statements, where someone can go to the commissioner's office, as you said, and they can file a false report. I could be sitting right here, Monica, in East Baltimore. You can be sitting in West Baltimore, and I can go to the commissioner's office and I can say, Monica assaulted me. You were nowhere near me. But the commissioner will write up a warrant for your
Hmm.
arrest. You can be riding down the street 2 months later, not knowing that you have a warrant, and you can be arrested. Most people that arrested through the commissioner's office, they have no they don't even know that they have these warrants. Sometimes we know, and I must say this, it is not a domestic violence bill. It is a bill for those who misuse the system. This bill is
Hmm.
on our state's attorney's um agenda. So he has I gotta slow down because this bill gets me excited because this bill is really personal for me.
Hmm.
Um, like you said, the young ladies, they will go down once they find out their partner has went on, and they get upset and they go down to the commissioner and they will file a warrant. What we're trying to do with this bill is, instead of the commissioner, writing out a warrant for the arrest, we would like to see them write a summons first, come into court, do a peace order or what have you, and then, but I have an amendment to the bill which says that if you live in the same household, the police officer, if he comes and he sees that there's physical evidence, he can write the warrant, go to the commissioner and write the warrant. It would give the state's attorney 48 to 72 hours to investigate, and then to investigate the warrant.
Hmm.
We know that people have been locked up, they have been in jail overnight. If you don't show up for work on a Monday morning, you're a no call, no show. You can
Hmm.
lose your job, you can lose your housing, you can lose everything. And it's all because of a false statement. We found out that some folks have been down there multiple times. The same person keep filing once. That's their way of saying, hey. And so they're misusing the system. And that's what we want to prevent, from those folks misusing the system, the court system.
Okay. Okay. I appreciate that. So, guys, that's HB 336. You
Yeah.
can always Google any one of the bills that have been mentioned here before. HB 1144. I really appreciate that. Oh, man. Ms.
And
Crystal Parker say that this bill is very important. These false charges have ruined several people's lives, especially black men. And I want to
yes.
get, go
And
ahead,
so
sister.
what I do want to say is that this has not just happened in the city of Baltimore, but we have folks from Calvert County, Montgomery County, all over
Hmm.
the state of Maryland who has been reaching out to me and saying, hey, this has happened to me. This has happened to my son. This has happened to my husband. This has happened to me as a woman. So it's not, and I want to reiterate, this is not a domestic violence bill. And so we're having a hearing on February the 3rd down in Annapolis, and we want, if you have these charges, we just want you to stand with us to say, hey, this has happened to me as well. Oh,
Okay.
and it did. It made it out of subcommittee last session. The bill was held, and they pulled the bill back, and so we're moving forward. And so
Good.
I just want to let everyone know that this is a very, very important bill.
Good, good, good. I appreciate you and thank
You're
you,
welcome.
particularly like for that MTA bill and protecting folks in that way. I really appreciate that. I want you to have a good day and wish you much success
Thank you.
down in Annapolis. And maybe we can do a legislative wrap up with you, our brother Senator Corey McCray, Delegate Sean Stinnett, and whoever those eventual winners are, because this is election season here in
Yes.
Maryland. It's
Yes.
election season. We have some
Yes.
new folks trying to get in there to
Yes.
take out the old folks, and it's going to be interesting. I tell you that things are heating up. And we didn't mention that, because that's a hotly contentious bill. We have juvenile bills that are being heard in Annapolis, and I think the brother Davon Love had, come out strongly concerning some juvenile bills, and our brother, Mr. Ivan Bates, the state's attorney, he's coming out concerning juveniles, how we deal with children. Do we prosecute them as children? Do we prosecute them as adults? And how the juvenile system works. So we haven't brought that up today. We might discuss it in the future, but the legislative session is for 90 days.
Yes.
So
And so,
we
Monica,
have,
I'm
mhm.
sorry. If you will have me back, I would love to talk about some other bills that I introduced. One of my family bills that grandparents' visitation rights. I have some
Mm.
others that we could talk about. Would love to come back on and share that information with you as well.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate you and stay warm. Our good friend, a friend of the show's Tasha Bennett says, Monica, I keep plenty of toilet paper. So if you need some toilet paper, you're gonna look up Sister Tasha Bennett. She got all the toilet paper and all the milk in her house, all the eggs. That's why we can't find none. But it's all good. We're getting ready for Snowmageddon. I believe Baltimore is ready. The state is ready for the storm. And I pray that you and your family are prepared and get through this. Stay warm. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
All right. We up next. We have potential delegate Miss Crystal Park is in the space. And Crystal, you've heard some of the topics today. We have a few minutes left. Share with us some of your thoughts on some of those topics that we have, and maybe some things that you might be interested in doing, and what you want to add to the 40th district if the voters choose to have you.
Well, thank you so much for having me on. I think potential specifically around the topics of literacy, the topics of false accusations. And, when we talk about trauma in our community and when we talk about public safety, all of those
Mhm.
things kind of go hand in hand with the environment that we live in. So when we look at, just holding people accountable for these false accusations, a lot of times that comes from, continuous trauma. It may be domestic violence. It may just be somebody getting back at someone. But again, at the end of the day, it causes trauma for both parties. We
Mhm.
talk about literacy, about meeting our young people where they are. I have the opportunity to teach GED, and I have older adults who, they talk about opening businesses, but they can't count. We've got young people outside on the street selling drugs, but they can't count. So at the end of the day, meeting people where they are, potentially using some of our nonprofit spaces. I had a proposal that I sent to state's attorney's office, probably it's been about 6 or 7 years ago now, or maybe more, where we would bring those children into, say, Miss Crystal's caring space, and they would get their assignments fed in from their school, because they would still be
Mhm.
connected to the system. If they needed clothes washed, if they needed a meal, whatever, we would utilize these spaces that are in our communities, that are nonprofits, that are saying that they're giving back or whatever they're doing for young people, and to create a space where the child is comfortable and they can get their work done, they can pass their grades in schools, and deal with whatever those issues are that are from home or what have you, and give them an opportunity to participate in the educational system, so that when they are out, when they go to the next step, they're not embarrassed. There's also parents and children reading together programs. So things of that sort that's holistic to the family. Definitely funding the Caring Commission bill. That is just so important. I know that it has
Mhm.
its issues with it, but at the end of the day, that's a start. Healthcare on a national and state level. I've been advocating for healthcare, because healthcare impacts everybody. I went to a farmer's conference 2 days ago, and we talked about the high rate of suicide amongst our farmers, you know, and how they have to pay out of pocket for their own health care. They don't have a group or a union to do that, you know, supporting our union. So there's so many things that are just human rights issues and concerns that people's everyday life lived experience needs to be impacting the policy that is set on all levels, the state, local, and national levels. Got to be guided by people's everyday lived experience, because we need to have policies that guide us and bring us back to a space of health and wellness as much as we can as we move along in our society. So that was just a quick and dirty. Those are just some of the things. You know me, I don't make these big promises. I don't have anything real cute to say. It's just about people, service. That's what I'm here for, created to serve, and being able to make people whole collectively. And if we work together, we talked about the issue of getting things done without money. Well, we have a lot of vision. We have a lot of ideas. We have a lot of things that we can put together to do to create spaces to get the things that we need. But we also have money in our communities. And again, literacy around money. How do we use money? How do we use money to elevate our communities collectively? So those are just a lot of the issues. But again, it comes back to human rights. It comes back to affordability. It comes back to people's lived experience on all levels, and from an intergenerational eye. So,
yes, ma'am. Well, we appreciate you. If folks wanted to learn more about you and your platform, can they go online and look it up? Do you have that information? We can just put it in the chat so people can see that.
Absolutely. It's real easy. It's crystaljacksonparker.com. crystaljacksonparker.com.
Okay, crystaljacksonparker.com. And I appreciate what you were saying about we do have money in our communities. And I want to throw that time bank thing back out there again. There's a brother named Akil Parker.
Yeah.
You can find him online. And what he does is he talks about all this math. And this brother is on a quest, not asking for money or nothing. He's on a quest to make sure that our children know math. So you got to look up Akil Parker. I'm looking forward to having Akil Parker on the show so that we can talk about math and how important it is. You can't get through this life. You cannot get through this life without knowing math. It's really important. And that time bank, we're going to talk about more about that time bank. When you get a chance, guys, Google that and look up what a time bank is. I explained it early on in the show, but look up what a time bank is and look forward to track number 9, time bank. We're going to be all right. We're going to get on the right track. We're going to be on the right track. God is going to be pleased with us. I promise you. Stick with me. Come here every Saturday. Not only will you walk away feeling inspired, feeling encouraged, but we are going to do some things. I promise you. God has put this in my heart and my mind, and it's all based in love. I would get up at 3 a.m. every day for folks because I said before, I'm in love with human beings. I'm in love with our potential. I'm in love with the chance that God give us every day we wake up to make this a more perfect world, a more perfect community, a more perfect society. And that's what he wants from us. That is our responsibility to each other.
To serve.
Yes, indeed. Our responsibility to each other is to make this a better place. Trust me. So with that said, this has been an absolutely wonderful show. I hope that you look up some of these bills. I hope that you continue to ride with me, get on this track, take this track number 9 journey with me. I'm always going to be your servant, always, because I believe I was born to be, in service. That's just it. So thank you again. Snowmageddon is here. Tasha say she don't have no milk, but she had plenty of bread. We got our seasoned sister. She always say she's seasoned. I love myself from Miss Joyce. Oh, Miss Joyce is absolutely wonderful up in Northwest Baltimore. That's my home girl for real. A little bit of age difference, but that's my home girl. Kia Simpson, she joined us again. Oh, man, you guys are riding with me. And I have a surprise for all. Shantae Perry is here. I have a big surprise, another announcement, but you guys are going to love this one. Some stuff that we're going to be doing, particularly for our viewers and people that join us and that's always chiming in. Always, man. God bless you. Let's stay on the right track. And thank you. Get out and vote. If you don't vote, I'm going to punch you in the eye. Nah, I ain't going to punch somebody in the eye. Have a wonderful day, family. And thank you again. God bless you.
We inspire. Greatness at track number 9. Stay on the right track and let your light shine. Step by step, reach for what's true. Track number 9, your greatness is waiting for you.